Hello and welcome along to another episode, and in fact a brand new season of this FM19 story, The Head Coach, with me, Daniel. It's season 8 episode 1, and today we've got a lot of transfer action to round up as our world-class director of football has been incredibly busy over the summer before we face a Burnley side still managed by Sean Dyche in the first game of the Premier League season. But firstly, there's not been too many changes off the pitch, nothing about staffing, finances or club improvements that really stands out, so we've just got to focus on the transfers, and it's a good job as well because it's been a very busy window. A couple of you have probably already picked up on some highlights from this home screen here, but let's go to the transfer centre and see the details in full. We've got a couple more who are getting loan offers at the moment who may be on their way out before the foreign window shuts or the EFL loan window, but for us in the Premier League, our chance to sign players who are attached to clubs is now over, and let's look at our transfer history to see what our director of football's done. If we look at our history, we're going to start with the released players. You can already see there's lots of ins and outs, but the released is just a few on the list. Firstly, Nicholas Otamendi, perhaps one of the most important ones. He was retiring after getting to 36 last year, and he was the highest paid player at the club on £145,000 a week, and with him going, we've been able to sign another one or two players as it's added so much to the wage budget, and we've even been able to move some across to the transfer budget. We've had a couple of other youngsters who hadn't made it that have gone out, but let's go and look at the transfers out of the club permanently. We've got lots of youngsters who have gone out on loan, and we just want to address something. We've had quite a few comments in the last couple of weeks asking about how we do this director of football challenge and just how much restriction we place on it. So in terms of loan listing, we do have to place the youngsters on the loan list ourselves, because otherwise they don't get any offers at all. Most clubs won't come in for players unless they're loan listed, particularly from the lower leagues and non-league, and as a result we have to put them on that list so that they start to get offers. Once those offers come in, our director of football deals with them, so we don't worry about whether the player's going to get football, whether their wages are being paid. That's all down to the person in charge of transfers. In terms of transfer listing, we do nothing at all. If we want someone out of the club, all we can really do is try to upset them so they want to leave themselves, or the director of football gets the hint. We can't do anything ourselves in terms of offering players out, putting them on the transfer list. We can obviously demote them to the under-23s as that's part of our role managing the team, but we can't do anything to do with their transfer screen. We have to leave that to the director of football. So as a result, we've got a lot of outs this summer. Some are a little bit under the market value, some of them over the top, and we're still paying quite a chunk of wages for some of these players, so it hasn't given us the full pockets we'd like to have had. So firstly was Radi Krunic. He went to West Ham for £17 million, a 31-year-old Bosnian centre midfielder. He did okay for us, but he was only going one way, unfortunately, and for a backup player, it's a lot of money to get in. Our backup striker, Haris Seferovic, he's gone off to China for £7.5 million, again at 33 now. We talked about regenerating this squad. So many of the older ones needed to go out. If they hadn't have been sold this summer, they wouldn't have got any market value at all the following year. Either their contracts would have expired or they would have been worth next to nothing. So we upset some of them. We put some in the under-23s. We had some conversations with some of them and warned them about poor form, and overall most of them got upset. There was only one, I think, where they were sold from an offer before we'd done anything about it. That man, remarkably, was Munas Dabur, our third choice striker, who's gone for £6 million to Akhmat. I'm not quite sure where they are. They're in the Russian Premier League, so he should do okay there. He's a decent player, just really declining physically again at 33, and he's actually got a hip injury now, so that's probably going to be the end of him physically. We lost Iosi Perez, a bit of a club legend. He's gone for £15 million to Krasnodar, also in Russia. He's only worth £10 million, so that's a good deal from our director of football, although we are still paying about 30 grand a week in wages. He made 343 appearances for the club, and although he didn't feature much for me, I still feel he deserves a send-off as he did really well. Earlier in the summer he had a testimonial, so hopefully he feels he got that. But again at 32, one of the older backup players out of the squad. We loaned out loads of the youngsters and one went on a free. And then the next one is Calum Wilson. He went for £14 million to Watford. We ummed and ahed for most of the summer. And then then decided at 33, as he started to decline physically, we were going to let him go as well. He scored at 1 in 3 for us, so wasn't too bad, but after a couple of goalless streaks since we've been here, we didn't think he was the answer long term. And perhaps more importantly, our director of football wasn't showing any signs at all of actually trying to buy a new centre forward, even as a backup to Wilson. So upsetting Wilson to the extent that he wanted to leave meant that A, we got a bit of money for an older aging player, and also we got the chance to bring in a striker as our director of football suddenly saw a gap in the squad. So a good deal all round for us, even though it's a huge loss for the club. The other one to go out on a big deal was Federico Rica. He was our backup left back last year. Again at 30 years of age, he started to decline physically, and when Southampton came in with 12.5 million, which was exactly what Newcastle paid for him 4 years ago, we knew that he was going to be on his way, and our director of football accepted the offer quickly. The last one to go on a permanent was Nathaniel Klein, 1.5 million to Rayo Vallecano. He came back from his long injury, but physically he's absolutely shot, and at 34 he's gone off to Spain for a nice sunny retirement. So fair play to him, and we wish him the best of luck over there. Only actually made 8 league appearances for us last season. So lots of players going out. All in all, we brought in £73 million, and despite signing a lot of players and a couple of big signings, we haven't actually spent as much as we've sold. We still made a £10 million profit. What that does mean in January is that there's 55 million left to spend and loads of wage budget, but unfortunately we've still got a couple of little gaps in the squad for the first half. If we can avoid injuries to those areas, I'm happy with what's been done, but otherwise we're in a little bit of bother moving forward. So the top 3 signings are all of the same category. They're young players from smaller clubs who have got huge potential and are already fairly decent, but we can't play any of them in the Premier League, so we've been trying to loan them all out. They've only got youth work permits due to the Brexit we've had in game, and that means they're not able to play in senior league fixtures, so they can play in the domestic cups, they can play in European competition should we get there, as far as I know anyway, but they cannot play in the senior league games. So basically for us, they can't make Premier League appearances, so they can't really be contributed towards the squad, though they will still get appearances in the cups if we've got a chance. So first is Mohamed Mathloufi, I think that is. He's coming for 600,000. He's a Tunisian 18-year-old centre-half, 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential. I know it's hard to see the stars there due to the fact that the Newcastle background's the same colour, but if you look at him, he's a really decent pro. 15 for tackling and heading already, 15 positioning as well, and he's really decent physically, so hopefully he'll develop into a good player. If we get to loan him out, then great. If not, we'll play him in the Carabao Cup. And then our other one is a Czech striker, 2.7 million from Baník Ostrava. Josef Rabina, I'm going to presume that is. I'm going for a silent H though, I know it might be wrong. 17 finishing, 17 heading, lots of pace, just hasn't quite got all the other attributes yet. A proper poacher for now, but hopefully he'll get better as time goes on. He's 2-star ability, 4.5 potential, and he looks like a really good signing again from our director of football. The last one is Pablo Polanco. He's come from Colombia for £500,000. He's a 19-year-old central midfielder, 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential, a really good technical player, a proper deep line playmaker, and I really think he could be a star long term. He's gone out on loan to Deportivo La Coruña in La Liga. He's going to get a season of football there, and hopefully that'll help him as he can break into the international team and get a full work permit next year. Next along the list is the free agent signing we'd already introduced you to last year. Mauro Oliviero signed on the 1st of July on a free from Boa Vista, a 24-year-old number 10. He's got 3.5-star ability and the same potential. Has all the right stats in the perfect areas, good agility, really good technically. In fact, physically across the board he's brilliant for a number 10, and he works hard as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays, and the fact that he might not even be a regular starter shows just how good a window we've had. I'm delighted with this signing, and to get him for free, a player that's now worth £22.5 million, is absolutely sublime. And perhaps more importantly, Ayoze Perez was on 90 grand a week, Oliviero's on 26.5. A fantastic deal for the club, and we're delighted to see him join us. Next along the list is our first big signing of the summer, Billy Gilmore from Chelsea. He wasn't even being scouted, our director of football just plucked him out from nowhere. He's coming to be our first choice central midfielder, replacing Rivera in that central role. He's a little bit more of a playmaker, likes possession a bit more, and as a Scottish international with 4-star ability and 4-star potential, he's well deserving of his 98,000 a week for being a key player at the club. He's good physically, strong mentally, the anticipation's a key stat in that area, and technically he's got everything he needs to. He's been around a bit, playing for Aberdeen, Chelsea and Leipzig, so hopefully he can do the shirt justice in the Premier League here. The next one's another free agent, Mason Greenwood. Any Manchester United fans who have been watching the Champions League recently will recognise him from the PSG game in real life, where he came on late on as a young 17-year-old. Here he's now 23 years of age and has just been released from the club in the summer. He's a really good striker, 3-star ability, 4 potential, can finish well with either foot, which is essential, places shots, which is a player trait I absolutely love, good finisher, good composure, and just as quick as well. He's going to be our backup striker this year on 50,000 a week, and another one worth loads of money after signing him on a free. Let's see at the clubs he's been at before. He was officially released from Manchester United, but has been on loan at loads of clubs in the Championship and Premier League. So you've got Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Blackburn and Brighton last year. Only 2 goals in the Premier League for them, but hopefully off the bench for us, he'll be a really good player. On to the last 2 then, the wonder kids added to the squad by our director of football. 2 brilliant signings at the end of the window. So Valdir Ranzan's the first one, £12 million for an attacking midfielder, a 19-year-old Brazilian wonder kid, 3-star ability, 5 potential, 2-footed attacking midfielder. Technically he's wonderful, really strong physically, and mentally he's okay, which will continue to develop at his young age. So a really good player, and him and Oliviero are going to be fighting it out for that number 10 spot. The last one is even better though. Florentin Bernard from Charleroi over in Belgium. 22.5 million looks a lot of money for a player in that league, but just have a look at him. A wonder kid Belgian striker, 19 years of age, playing for the under-21, scoring at nearly 1 a game, and on 70 grand a week, he's going to be an absolute superstar. A 3.5-star striker with 5-star potential, an advanced forward who gets in behind, has got a player trait to come deep and get the ball, and then has the pace to get in behind and loves running with it as well. So it has adapted our tactic very slightly, but I think this guy's going to be an absolute superstar. So we're looking forward to seeing some of those in action both today and for the rest of the season. But let me know down in the comments what you think of that summer window. Do you think our director of football's done well? Do you think he maybe let too many of the experienced players go? Or has he made up for it with the signings? So although there's 8 of them there, only 5 of them can really contribute in the Premier League this year, which may make things a little bit difficult considering we've lost 7 or 8. So if we show you the full squad so you can see what that means, we're obviously getting to the first game as well. Burnley are slight favourites, but that seems to be the odds for every first game of the season. We were both mid-table last year, so let's see who can get a better start in this one. Lee Mason's the referee. Burnley have sold out Turf Moor, so it should be a cracking atmosphere for the Premier League opener. We've stuck with our formation from last season, the 4-2-3-1 that's slightly asymmetric. We've got Konza in as a starting centre-half now. He's taken over from the ageing Congolo from last year. The only slight issue we've got back there, both of them prefer to play on the right of a defensive 2, but I'm sure they'll be alright the way we play. We're really focusing on controlling possession and controlling games this season. We've got 1 injury to Arzani, which will affect us slightly, but it means the other wonder kid Lavinas will get some football as well. So some of the tactical changes we've made, while not changing the formation at all, is dropping Matiju back slightly when Lavinas plays, just to make sure that we've got a supporting fullback for the winger who's not going to get too far up the pitch. In possession, we're going to run at the defence more. That's just because Sigurdsson isn't in the team anymore and Wilson's age isn't a problem. We've got a young striker and young number 10 in for them, and with Lavinas starting some of the time as well, all of the front 4 can run at the defence, as can Billy Gilmore in midfield. Now he likes to get forward as well. The other thing we've changed slightly when we win possession is we're going to counter with a bit more pace, so hopefully that will make a difference too. Although we'll still be playing the ball shorter, we'll be moving forward more quickly. hopefully. The other thing I'm trying, which is the first time in about a decade I've done it, I'm playing a high defensive line. I've never tried it in FM19 and I haven't done it since a bad experience in about FM 2010. So if it is something that you've had a bad experience with in this game, let me know down in the comments why. I've simply looked and seen that all of our back five had 13, 14 or 15 pace and think we should be able to get away with it. It suits the rest of this tactic better. A higher starting point means the shorter possession's more likely to carve teams open. If we're playing short and in our own half most of the time with a deeper defensive line, it means we're more likely to lose possession and get caught out. So that's the theory. We may well get done by 1 or 2 long balls over the top, but if it means we can see less chances and keep the ball in higher attacking areas, I'll be very happy with the way it works. So our lineup and squad for today is David Raya in goal, Matiju and Lewis the fullbacks, with January signing Konza and Lascelles in the middle. Douglas Luiz is in that holding role, so the back six is all still the same, meaning we've got a bit of continuity back there. The new signing starting central midfield though, as Billy Gilmore gets his first start for the club. We've got Iwobi on the left wing as always, Lavinas in for the injured Arzani on the right, and the free agent Oliveira with the wonder kid Bernard up front. We've got Ranzan and Greenwood on the bench, and a few of the defensive players as well, and then Martin Chapman makes his way on the bench too, just to give us a right-sided option, rather than having both Riedewald and Congolo, who are very similar players. So Chapman will get some football if we're doing well in games, but other than that, we're going to stick with our experienced pros. Let's get into the first game of the season and see if our tactical changes work. Burnley have lined up with Sean Dyche's classic 4-4-2. We've got the slightly weird formation as always, so let's see which one works out. They've got Reiss Nelson and Serge Gnabry, 2 former Arsenal youngsters on the wings, Fosu Mensah at right back, and then Panzo, a player our director of football tried to sign on deadline day. He bid about £25 million for him, and he's a very good player. We could have done with him to be honest, although he is very similar to Congolo and Riedewald. But they've got a very good side, Burnley. They were at the top end of mid-table last year, and Areola in goal as well. The former PSG man's a good pro too. So plenty of good players for them, and we're going to have to be at our best to get a result today. Let's tell them to do it for the fans. That's what our assistant manager says, and we've got our tunnel interview pre-match. We've been working hard. We want to do well this season. What other answer am I going to give? We've not been working that hard at all, and we hope we fail. But it's Burnley with the kickoff. They've got it on the left-hand side with Nelson. Already switched with Gnabry from the game plan shown pre-match. They're keeping it well in the middle, and they don't want to create an early chance against us. That wouldn't be so good, but luckily Coin blazes over the bar, although we concede our first chance in 15 seconds. It's a throw on the right for Burnley. Fosu Mensah finds Gnabry. Back to Fosu Mensah again. He's been forced backwards, but in the end gets it back down the line to Gnabry. Lovely triangles in there from Burnley, and although we're trying to keep the ball, it's Burnley who have had the early chances. Lavinas with a corner on the right though. Bernard heads it and it hits the woodwork, and it's cleared away by Burnley, hacked off the line after dropping down from the bar. Oliviero gets the ball in. Fosu Mensah heads away. Lavinas on the edge back to Gilmore. Beats a man and shoots, but curls it just wide of that far post. A lovely bit of whip on the shot, but it doesn't quite beat the net. It's a free kick for Burnley. Into the box, back post. Great effort by the centre-half, I think that is. Raya manages to tip it into the net, but luckily it was offside, and we managed to get away with one there. An end-to-end game, plenty of chances. Only one for us so far, though. Gilmore switches it to Matiju. Can we create a second with Douglas Luiz? He finds Gilmore. Gilmore's got time, finds Douglas Luiz again. So many ball-playing technical players. Lewis in behind to Bernard, and he scores on his debut. A wonderful goal. Gilmore, the new signing, in the middle, with a beautiful clip pass over to Lewis. Lewis drills it to the back post, and Bernard's attacking it across the defender to put it in past the keeper. A wonderful start, and a fantastic goal, and it's good to see 2 of our new signings making an impact. It's Burnley coming forward on the left now though. Reiss Nelson gets the ball. He goes back to his fullback. Long ball over, which Lascelles heads away, but doesn't go far, and now Coin's coming forward. Jankto finds Coin again. He gets it to Reiss Nelson, who's cutting in. Dangerous on that right foot, but not on this occasion as he puts it well over the bar. 20 gone, and we remain 1 goal ahead. Burnley with a free kick on the right. It's into the front post, but Fossum heads it over. The captain and central midfielder wasting a golden chance. I've just noticed they've got a striker on the bench as Lavinas puts one just wide, called Buznikin, a Russian. He's a player that our director of football tried to sign to, an 18 million striker who's almost as good as Bernard. But now Bernard's got the opening goal, we're not worried about that at all. Panzo with a long ball over to Coyne. Lascelles does really well to deal with it and gets it back to Raya safely. He tries to switch it out. Nabry loses out to Lewis in the air and Iwobi can charge forward now. Obviously the star from last year and his shot deflects but the keeper keeps it in. It's Iwobi again though. He finds Gilmore. Suddenly the sun's come out of the ground there. That was a remarkable difference to the scene. The sun must have crept out from the clouds there and at half time it looks like it's going to be 1-0 thanks to a Bernard goal on his debut. It is half-time then. We've restricted Burnley to a few long shots and one offside goal, and they haven't had a shot on target officially yet. We've had 3 and we lead 1-0, a debutant striker getting the goal. Couldn't be much better than that, and we're going to tell the lads not to get complacent. Most of them are focused or motivated, and hopefully that'll lead to a good second half performance. It's Gilmore with the ball in the middle. Tries to get it in behind on that left-hand side again. Looks like it's where we're going to be dangerous. Iwobi cuts in and then Lewis overlaps, but it didn't work on this occasion. Unfortunately, Barnsley looked like they're 2-0 down at home on the first day. Lavinas with the ball into Bernard again, scores his 2-0, and we're not worried about Barnsley anymore, as Bernard is a superstar striker. A bit lucky with that one, but a brace for him on his first appearance. Lewis gets the ball at left back. He goes to Raya. He finds Lascelles, and now we're just playing it comfortably. Look at the confidence now we lead 2-0. Gilmore in the middle has absolutely dominated the game, and he finds Lavinas on the right. Charging into Bernard again, shoots, and it's a good save. A snapshot with no backlift at all, and the keeper down to his left stops the hat-trick. A wonderful performance from Bernard, and with an hour gone we still lead 2-0. It's a free kick for Burnley on the right. It's blocked by the wall. Nelson's shot in the rebound is blocked too, and it's out for a throw on the right. And the dangerous striker we mentioned has come on now, so we've got to be careful. Lavinas with an outswinging corner. Parra heads away, but only as far as Iwobi. Oliviero shoots from the edge. Fosu-Mensah hacks away after a block. Lewis charges forward again though, and knocks it over the top. And now Burnley have got a counter on, with just 5 on 4. Konza wins it back though, and puts Bernard in. He's going to have a shot, and Areola has to take it behind. He made the save and held it, but got dragged behind the line too. I didn't look like the shot had that much power on it. Fossum heads the corner away. It finds Lascelles. It's been a wonderful game of football, so many highlights, and Lavinas has the cross blocked. Gilmore keeps it again though. He finds Lewis and the highlight ends. Hopefully we'll get a breather now. We'll give it 5 more minutes and then we'll make a couple of subs. Raya with a goal kick. He takes it short to Konza. He goes back to the goalkeeper again and he switches it out to the left back. Nelson nicks it off him though and he's charging in. Parrott in one-on-one. Great block by Lascelles and it's behind for a corner kick, which we'll see out before we make our changes. It's quite clear there which 3 outfield players we should take off, but we won't want to do that in case it might be the wrong choice for us. Panzo heads one over the bar for Burnley and we're now going to make those subs. Mason Greenwood's going to come on the left hand side. I think he'll be suited to the inside forward role. We're going to put him on attack though. We're going to bring Ranzan on for his debut in the number 10 role. He replaces Oliviero, who's had a steady game, and then in a holding role we've got Danilo we can bring on, or do we bring off Matiju who's on a yellow card and give Martin Chapman 15 minutes too? I think it's a bit early for that, so we're going to leave it 5 more minutes. Let's just make those 2 subs and see how it serves us for the next 5. It's 3-0 Fulham now, and there's only 3 minutes left here, so we're going to give Martin Chapman a few more minutes of football. He was unlucky to have to play in the FA Cup final last year. It really dented his confidence, but he's come back and continued to improve in training and deserves another outing in this one. Hopefully to be involved in a win in the Premier League will put his mind to rest a bit, and it will serve him well for the rest of the season, as he's still our only other right-back option. Ranzan switches it, it's a poor ball over, but Nabry gets there as the ball's cleared away. Burnley are bringing it forward, but it's a little bit too late now. Just 15 seconds of stoppage time left, and Lascelles plays it to Lewis. All the way back to Raya, the keeper. He's got Konza there, but goes long instead. Lewis flicks it on for Greenwood. Can we put the icing on the cake? It's not. It's a poor ball over to Lavinas, and it's out for a throw-in. The final whistle goes. We win 2-0 against a really strong Burnley side. That's a great result, and a really solid dominating performance too. Bernard scores a brace on his debut. Gilmore was absolutely brilliant, and the defence look really solid too. I couldn't be much more happy with that, and long may it continue for the rest of the season. We've told the lads we're happy with the result and performance, and they all look really happy. So let's go and see what's been said about the game and plan when we'll next be back. The quality of possession provides victory. We absolutely dominated and deserved to be the winner in that one. We praise our director of football for bringing in the brilliant strikers and midfielders, and they certainly delivered on their first game. Bernard's going to get some praise. I'm sure I've pronounced his name differently at every stage during this match, but importantly he's a goal scorer and he'll become a hero for us either way. So a wonderful start to the season. Let's look at when we'll next be back. We've got another month or so, some really big games coming up this month, 3 huge teams in Tottenham, United and Liverpool, and our other games against our former club Barnsley. We won't show this one, but the second one later on in the season we will. We're going to leave it a month or so, play at least 6 or 7 games, and then come back possibly for the City game at the start of October to really test ourselves against the top side. But if you did enjoy this episode, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of our director of football's work and our performance on the opening day of the season. Do you think I've got the tactical decisions right, or am I going to regret playing the high line? And as always, for the first day of the season, get your predictions in below. Where are we going to finish this season? Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one The Head Coach, and our other series Part of the Furniture with Torquay United, the One Club Challenge, where we tried to take them to the top of European and English football. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time for another big Premier League game.